Hey guys, happy Thursday. So of course I'm not here today. I am actually here, but I'm out in meetings all day today, so I do apologize for that. But again, there's a bunch of important stuff that we need to cover. Midterms are almost around the corner. So again, we don't have time to waste here. So you guys know how this works. Pause the video here, try this warm up, and then we'll work through it right now together. All right, so we see that in our warm-up here, guys, it says solve the following equation. Again, essential standard number 1. Well, immediately I see parentheses, and I'm like, hey, there's a 2 in front that I have to distribute. So what's 2 times 3? That's going to be a positive 6. What is 2 times negative 2? That's going to give me negative 4c is equal to 10. I'm going to drop down my 5c as well. Don't forget about that guy. Okay, now I see that I have like terms on the same side of the equal sign. I see I have 5c's and I have minus 4c's. Well, if I combine those together, 5c's minus 4c's is going to give me just 1c. Don't forget to drop down the plus 6. Don't forget to drop down your equals 10. Last thing that I have to do here is going to be subtract 6 from both sides. Okay, c is going to equal 10 minus 6, which is 4. All right, guys, so again, there you have it. C is equal to 4. If you guys made a mistake, go back in there quickly and fix it. All right, let's jump into today's lesson. So today's lesson, graphing a linear equation. We've actually graphed lines, okay? We're using a bunch of little dots, right? So make sure you guys copy that down. We had a table of values, and we had a bunch of numbers, and then you had to go ahead and plot all those little dots, and you were creating this nice straight line, straighter than that, right? That was the idea. So today, what's our objective? Students will be able to graph a line. You're going to be able to graph a line, but this time using points and a slope. We've been talking about slope. We talked about that on Tuesday. And again, language objective. You guys should be able to explain this to anybody that walks in the room. All right, so let's recall slope. We did do that on Tuesday. So the slope of a line is a ratio of the rise to run for any 2 points on the line. Again, we were kind of not using rise or run. Some of you guys know it. Some of you guys don't, and that's okay. We were referring to it as the change in the y's over the changes in the x. How much are the y's changing by, and how much are the x's changing by? And then sometimes you'll actually see some people use the following little term. There's a little triangle which we call delta, and they'll say delta y over delta x. Now again, what the heck does delta mean? It just means the change in. So the changes in your y's over the changes in your x. So let's go through that. How does that work? Well, remember, if I ever ask you guys to find slope, so here it says the graph shows a relationship between the temperature expressed in Fahrenheit and the temperature expressed in Celsius. Now, if I ask you to find the slope of this line, could you go through and use the slope formula we talked about on Tuesday? M, so again, M is the variable we use to represent slope. Can you say y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1? Yeah, you could go through that. Okay, the changes in the y's over the changes in your x, or you can do what we were doing, which is taking these points and plugging them back into a table and find the difference there. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here. So again, I have my x, my y. Now I always like to go from left to right. So my first point that pops up is 50, 10. So I'm going to do 50 and 10. Next point is 77, 25. So I put 77, 25. Now if I want to find slope, remember, slope is the change, so I'm going to say delta y over delta x, the changes in the y over the changes in the x. Well, how much are the y's changing by? How the heck did I go from 10 to 25? Well, I had to increase, okay, by 15. 10 plus the 15 would give me 25. So I know that y's are changing by positive 15. How much are the x's changing by? How the heck did I go from 50 to 77? Well, that's an addition I have to add. It's increasing by 27. So the changes in the x, delta x, is going to be positive 27. Now you always want to ask yourself, can you divide? Can you simplify this? Well, 15 doesn't divide nicely by 27, right? But I can actually still simplify this by 3. I can reduce top and bottom by 3 here. 15 divided by 3 is going to equal 5. Okay, 27 divided by 3 is going to give me 9. So what is our slope? Our slope is going to be 5 over 9. And in other words, what's the change in the y's over the change in the x? 5 over 9. That is our final answer if I was asking for slope. All right, guys. So this is the big idea here for today. Yeah, take a second, copy this table down. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and graph it. All right, and we're going to being asked to identify a few things. Slope and then a point on that line. Okay, so take a few minutes. If you need to pause it, feel free. All right, so let's jump into it exactly like we were doing all of last week. I take my first value here, 1, 2. So I scoot over. Oops, let me go back. So I scoot over 1, and then I go up 2 on my coordinate plane. This is 1, 2. Why is it doing this? Okay, my next point is going to be 3, 5. So that means I scoot over. What is going on? I scoot over 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. Right. What we want to do now is go ahead and connect those. There we go. We have our nice straight line. Oh, come on, you gotta be kidding me. All right, so guys, there's our line. We graphed it. We needed, all we need really is 2 points. Now, there's a few things that the question is asking me here. Well, identify slope and a point. Let's go ahead and identify slope. I have a nice table of values. I want to find the changes in the y's. So delta, that should be a y, over delta x, the changes in the x. Well, how do I get from a 2 to a 5? Well, I have to do plus 3. So that means my changes in the y's is going to be positive 3. Over, how do I get from a 1 to a 3? How do the x's change by? Well, these increase by 2. So we say plus 2. So what is our slope? Our slope is going to be 3 over 2. That's the delta y over delta x. Now, if they ask me for a point, guys, you have 2 points. You can pick 1, 2 or 3, 5, right? It's just asking for a point. Okay, there we have it. You could have picked any point on this line, right? 1, 2 or 3, 5. It's up to you. Okay, let's go ahead. I want you guys to pause the video here and try it out by yourselves, and then we'll continue together. All right, so let's go through it. Here we go. I need to plot my 2 points. So 6, 1. I'm gonna scoot over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm gonna go up 1. That's my very first point there. The next one is -2, -2. That means I go left 2, down 2. All right, it's gonna be a little hard. I'm gonna get my little ruler out. All right, let's see if I can do this. Nope, that was terrible. Nope, that's still pretty terrible. And there we go. That is completely terrible. All right, but we get the idea that your line should be straighter than that, guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through this problem. What is the slope of this nice straight line? Well, let's go ahead and calculate that by finding the change in the y over the change in the x. So how much is this changing by? How much are my y's changing by? Well, how do I go from a 1 to a -2? If I look on the number line, this one's a tricky one that confuses people. Here's 1. Here's -1. Here's -2. How the heck do I get there? Well, this is going to go -1, -2, -3. So the y's are changing by a difference here, -3. So they're going down -3. Well, how the heck do I go from a 6 to a -2? Same idea. If I actually extend this a little bit further, right? 6 is way out here. Count backwards. Go through, count backwards until you get to -2. Because I'm going backwards, I need to subtract. 8. 6 minus 8 will give me -2. That means that my slope is the changes in the y. So it's going to be -3 over -8. But I can actually clean this up. I can make this a little bit nicer. What is a negative divided by a negative? It's going to be a positive. So I do want you guys to clean that up whenever that happens. If you have negative divided by negative, I want my slope to be +3 over 8. Now, a point, again, you guys can pick whichever one you want. This is going to be 6, 1. Okay, or I could have said -2, -2. Now, again, those of you guys that remember slope as your rise over your run, well, this is 3 over 8. The changes in the y's, let's take a look at this. You don't have to do this part here. Over the changes in the x, but it's going to help us out. So how much are the y's changing by? Well, it's +3. That +3 means that from my first point, the y's going up and down, I'm going to scoot up 1, 2, 3. That was a difference of +3 there. Well, how many do I have to go across? The difference in the x's is I have to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is a difference of plus 8. And we see that this is actually going to help us out in a quick second. Okay, graphing a linear equation. Well, here's the issue, guys. They only give us a point and a slope. This is what we were trying to get to. Well, easy peasy. Let's go ahead and plot that. Let's go ahead and plot it just like we normally do. 0, 3. This one's the tricky one. 0 stays, I stay at 0 here on my x-axis, but I have to go up 1, 2, 3. Alright guys, that is my very, very first point. How the heck am I going to get that missing piece here? Well, they give me slope. Oops, let me go back. They tell me that my slope is negative 5, negative 5, 2. Well, this is the change in the y's over the changes in the x's. So that means that my y's are decreasing by 5. So if I look at my y-axis here, if I'm on that point right there that I plotted, that means I have to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because that was a minus 5 on the y's. Well, what about the x? Because it's positive, that means I'm going to go 1, 2, positive 2. Well, there's my second point, and I go ahead and I draw my line, and there we have it. So there is my line. This is the expectation for today. If I was to give you a point and a slope, guys, can you go ahead and graph your line? Well, what was the point that I was missing? I actually have it right here. It's right 2, down 2. So it's going to be 2, negative 2. And again, I can actually write it down here. 2, negative 2. All right, guys, I want you to try this problem. So go ahead and graph it. I give you a point, 2, 1, and your slope is 3 over 4. So take a second, pause the video here, try it on your own. All right, so let's go through this. I'm going to plot my point again. I always want to start there. So that means 2, 1, I scoot over 2, and I go up 1. There we have it. Now I need to get a second point to create that line. Well, my slope, again, the delta y, the changes in the y over the changes in the x's. Well, it's a positive 3 and a positive 4. So if I take a look at the top piece here, the changes in the y, changing the y means up and down. It was positive 3. So from my point here, I'm going to climb up 1, 2, 3. That was a plus 3 change in the y's. Well, what about the x's? The x's say a change in 4, and because it's positive, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there we have it. I have found the second point, and actually, bam, there is my line. Okay, so what is that second point that they were asking for? Well, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Up 1, 2, 3, 4. So my point is going to be 6, 4. 6, 4 is in there. All right, guys. Let's jump into the next one here. All right. So here is your class activity, guys. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 problems. Let me go through what it is asking you guys to do. Okay, for the first 3, 7, 8, 9, you are going to find slope. Okay, so again, if you want to use the slope formula, it's up to you. I'd highly recommend you guys use that little table. Okay, plug in your 5, 3, 10, 8. Find the difference in the y's over the difference in the x's. That's your slope. Okay, for the last 3 here, 10, 11, and 12, I need you to graph the linear equation. Again, you want to start off by plotting your point and then using your slope, okay, to get that second point, and you go ahead and graph it. So I'm looking for 3 graphs. All right, I am looking for 3 graphs. All right, guys. This is the class activity. When you guys are done, turn it into the inbox. If you finish early, work on missing assignments or work for another class. I will see you guys tomorrow. If you have any questions, please feel free to throw them there on Google Classroom. I will try to answer them for you as soon as possible. If not, first thing tomorrow when I see you guys. Have a great day, you guys.